Greetings from Los Angeles. This is Daisuke, and I very much hope that this video finds you well and in very good spirits wherever you are in the world. I would like to take this opportunity, if I may, to speak about some news with regard to the Criterion collection, because it is right now August 15th, 2023. As I'm making this video, and in fact a few hours ago the Criterion Collection made its announcement with respect to its planned releases for November 2023. So if it's okay with you, my dear friends, you and I explore and speak briefly about our initial impressions with regard to these planned releases for November 2023 from the Criterion Collection. So before I begin, let me say once again, I apologize for my lack of organization and my sort of temporary setting here. As some of you may know, I am still in the midst of moving from Japan to the United States. And while we have found a place to live, my family and I, we are still in the midst of moving in. So a lot of things are very temporary and a lot of things are still in the sort of messy moving in phase. So this is a kind of temporary setup, but as it so happens today, the Criterion Collection made its announcement for November 2023 releases, so I had to get on the camera, as it were, and share with you some of my initial impressions, because they're a very interesting bunch of titles, as those of you who know the titles can probably attest to. But these are initial impressions, so of course our opinions and views, and my opinions and views, might indeed change when the actual item arrives and we get a chance to actually explore the film and the presentation and the special features and the package design, etc. when the actual item arrives, again in November, when those dates of release occur. But in the meantime, with that understanding, of course, let us then explore just our initial impressions based on this new news off of the Criterion Collection website. This is also my way to say that if you want more details, I strongly encourage you to check out the Criterion Collection website directly for more information about the specifications, about the cover art designs, about the write-ups on the films, etc. So you can check that out directly. But in the meantime, let's just share our initial impressions of these very interesting collection of titles planned again for release on November 2023 by the Criterion Collection. First up, scheduled for release on November 7th, 2023, and this is for spine number 1197, and it is the work, or it looks like it is a collector's set or a collection of films, which is given the overall title of Jackie Chan, Emergence of a Superstar. Wow. So again, this is scheduled for release for spine number 1197. And the films that are included in this set are Half a Loaf of Kung Fu, Spiritual Kung Fu, The Fearless Hyena 2, and The Young Master, and My Lucky Stars. And these are, of course, Jackie Chan vehicles. And I should point out, too, that among other things, the special edition features indicate is 4 Blu-ray disc set, 2K digital restorations, for the Spiritual Kung Fu, Fearless Hyena 2, The Young Master, and My Lucky Stars, and high-definition digital restoration of Half a Loaf of Kung Fu with uncompressed monaural soundtracks. And there's going to be some options in terms of soundtracks, and also options in terms of commentary tracks, etc., as well as some other features that are included. So this is very exciting news. Incredibly exciting news. Jackie Chan. I'm a big fan of the works of Jackie Chan, although one of my big failings of this YouTube channel is I haven't spoken enough about the works of Jackie Chan. And although I don't consider myself in any way to be an expert when it comes to the full body of work from Jackie Chan, still I'm a very big fan. And so I am very pleased. I'm very excited about this news indeed. And it also appears to be like a set or a collection of films. Again, it's coming in a 4-disc Blu-ray set. It'll be interesting to see what the packaging will look like, etc. You know, the Criterion Collection, admittedly, is, I think, doing its best to try to release more films from Asian cinema. And of course, Jackie Chan's cinema is, I think, a very popular and very important and quite vital component of this body of work, of this body of cinema. And there might be other labels out there in the world that maybe people might consider that do the job better than Criterion, or make releases that are, say, maybe more robust than Criterion's releases. And I think those are very reasonable discussions to be had, and I'm certainly very happy to have those discussions with specific releases, of course. But just in terms of announcements and in terms of Criterion's movements, in terms of the releases of Jackie Chan cinema and similar sorts of films in this vein, I think this is very welcome news indeed. So I'm quite pleased with this. And again, we'll wait and see what the details are and how the supplements figure in overall with this set. So, and of course, comparative analysis will be very welcome indeed. But just in terms of a Criterion release, and just in terms of a North American Criterion release, and in terms of the ever-growing presence of, say, Asian cinema, as well as the ever-growing presence of Jackie Chan cinema, this is, again, a welcome addition to Criterion's catalog. So I'm certainly very excited about this, very, very excited about these films. And it'll give me an opportunity to speak a little bit more about the cinema of Jackie Chan. Again, it's my great failing. I'm very, very sorry to say that I haven't been able to speak about the cinema of Jackie Chan on this channel. And even if I were to be able to do so, I know that there are many other experts and channels out there that do a much better job of this this discussion than I could ever hope to achieve. But in any event, let us together, you and I, try to engage with this discussion, because I think it's really fun, it's really exciting, and so much liveliness. And it's a sort of testament to the great breadth of scope and love of cinema that is part of the Jackie Chan oeuvre, including these films. So the emergence of the Superstar set, which is going to be on spine number 1197 from Criterion, again, November 7th, 2023. Next, scheduled for release on November 14th, 2023. And this is for, let's see, this is going to be a 2-disc Blu-ray set or 4K UHD Blu-ray combo 3-disc set. And this is a film which is at spine number 549. So it already exists in the Criterion collection, indeed, as part of a really great set. One of the great sets from Criterion, America Lost and Found, the BBS story. This is one of those films. So this is getting its sort of individual release, and also getting a 4K UHD plus Blu-ray combo release to boot. And this is, again, spine number 549, and the film is from 1971, and it is from Peter Bogdanovich, The Last Picture Show. So The Last Picture Show is getting its own sort of singular individual release, and also taking advantage of the 4K UHD technology. It indicates 4K digital restoration of the director's cut with uncompressed monaural soundtrack, with Dolby Vision HDR, and 2 Blu-rays with the film and special features, including Texasville, and also 2 audio commentaries and 3 documentaries on the making of the film. So very exciting stuff indeed. Wow, it's including Texasville. That's interesting. That is a very interesting development. So this is the sequel to The Last Picture Show, so Texasville from 1990. So that's very interesting indeed. So I don't know if Texasville, it doesn't look like it's going to be getting its own spine number. So it's going to be included, I think, probably on one of those Blu-ray discs. But it says Texasville presented in both the original theatrical version and a black and white version of Peter Bogdanovich's director's cut, produced in collaboration with cinematographer Nicholas von Sternberg. So this is fascinating. I have never seen, well, I've seen Texasville, but I have never seen this black and white version of the director's cut. So, wow, this is fascinating. So we're getting an interesting release here. We're getting a kind of individual release of a very, very important work that was already part of a great set, the America Lost and Found set from several years back from the Criterion collection, the great Blu-ray set. But it's getting a little bit of sort of extra, say, stuff in there, including some attention given to this work, Texasville. So this is very interesting indeed. And also it looks like there's going to be some attention given to Texasville. It says there's also included as part of the supplements, Introduction to Texasville featuring Bogdanovich, Sybil Shepherd, and Jeff Bridges. So, wow, this is great. You know, the Last Picture Show is one of those just almost, it's a very key work. And I use that phrase, I think, very energetically. Let me put it that way. And I think it has that sense of a type of earnestness and also an emotional honesty, which I think also is given a sense of a type of vigor and almost a sense of vibrance that could be linked to a type of youthful energy on the one hand, but also a sense of realism or reality on the other. And I'm trying to be as vague as possible for the benefit of those who have not yet seen this brilliant work, The Last Picture Show. So if you haven't seen this, I think this is a great opportunity to watch this again in the 4K UHD Blu-ray combo edition. It'll be a great chance to see what Criterion does with the 4K technology in the context of this application of this film, plus also given the extra added benefit of this separate film, Texasville. So it'll be a great opportunity to experience that film again as well. And we have different versions of this as well. So this is very exciting news. Again, very exciting news. Wow. So Peter Bogdanovich's The Last Picture Show is getting its great individual release, plus Texasville, which is wonderful, and I love that. It has actually on the cover art. Here's the iPad that I have. It has on the cover art Last Picture Show, and it says on the bottom plus Texasville. So that's an interesting detail in and of itself. It would have been interesting to have Texasville maybe as part of the collection, given its own spine number. That would have been interesting, but that's not happening. At least it appears not to be happening, but that's okay. We will see what Criterion has to offer in terms of offering that film again in a combination of The Last Picture Show. Wow. To have those two films together in this way, this is incredible. This is really incredible, and also a great way to celebrate, again, the legacy of Peter Bogdanovich, one of the great filmmaker artists, Renaissance person, artists of that generation. So, and The Last Picture Show is one of the greats. And so we've had great attention given to Peter Bogdanovich's work in the past with film like Targets. And so this seems to be continuing that tradition in a manner of speaking. The Last Picture Show, together with Texasville. But here, The Last Picture Show, given the 4K UHD plus Blu-ray combo treatment, 3 discs, is scheduled for release, again, November 14th, 2023. Wow. And then continuing on, scheduled for release November 14th, 2023. And this is a work which is also, or it was in the Criterion collection, and then it fell out of print for a little bit, but now it's back. At spine number 409, and this is from 1978. The filmmaker is Terrence Malick, and this is the work Days of Heaven. So Days of Heaven is kind of returning to the Criterion collection, right? It was out of print, I think, yes. So, but now it's returning, and it's returning with not just the Blu-ray disc, the single disc Blu-ray disc, but also the 4K UHD plus Blu-ray combo 2-disc release. And it says new 4K digital restoration supervised and approved by director Terrence Malick. It's 5.1 DTS HD master audio soundtrack. New 4K digital restoration, so that's interesting. And then the one 4K UHD disc of the film with Dolby Vision HDR, and then one Blu-ray of the film. And the special features will be on the Blu-ray disc. So, Days of Heaven is coming back to the Criterion collection. That is very good news indeed. The film is magnificent, and it has a sense of a type of sweep of history, and also a sense of Americana, and also a sense of the type of maybe almost growth and almost tumult of history that's linked very, very specifically to the emotional landscape of the characters that we meet. And it's very intimate, and there's a lot of, say, maybe romance, but also a sense of maybe betrayal and intimacy and secrecy, as well as emotions, and maybe that sense of tumult and freedom all at once. And so there is so much, and then some, to be said about this incredible work from Terrence Malick, Days of Heaven. It is, oh my goodness. Again, that's another failing of this channel and of mine, which is not enough attention given to the works of Terrence Malick by me. That's not to say I'm not a fan. Indeed, I am a big fan of the works of Terrence Malick. I have spoken about Terrence Malick in the context of, say, The Tree of Life, but I've never had the chance yet to speak about this amazing, majestic work, Days of Heaven. So this is a wonderful opportunity to be able to do so. Really excited about this. And also, it's really wonderful news as well, because while it's not true for all of the out-of-print titles in the Criterion catalog, we are seeing some movement in terms of the return of some titles back into the collection that seem to have fallen, say, out of print or temporarily unavailable, or whatever the verbiage is for the given moment in terms of marketing, etc. But here we have the kind of return of a very important title, Days of Heaven, because it really feels nice when you have news like this, and especially a work like Malick's Days of Heaven. Oh, this is great news. So anyway, Days of Heaven is coming to the Criterion collection, and we'll see what the 4K UHD plus Blu-ray combo edition has to offer. That'll be a good opportunity to check that out. I have the other earlier Blu-ray release. I was very fortunate to be able to get that. So it'll be nice to do a comparative analysis if we have the opportunity. So let us talk about this wonderful film, again, scheduled for release, again, November 14th. That is Days of Heaven. Next, scheduled for release on November 21st, 2023. And this is scheduled for Spy Number 1198. And this is a film from the year 1973. And the filmmaker is Martin Scorsese. And it looks like we have the option of a single disc Blu-ray release or a 4K UHD plus Blu-ray combo 2-disc release of this, which is purported to be based on a new 4K digital restoration approved by the director and also the editor with uncompressed monaural soundtrack. I'm speaking of a incredibly electrifying, high voltage work. Such an important work from this filmmaker, Martin Scorsese. My goodness. Criterion Collection. How should I put this? Tell me, Criterion Collection, tell me you're coming back to me. You gotta tell me you're coming back to me. Now, why do I say this? Because I'm referring to one of the most important works from the 1970s, and that is Mean Streets. Mean Streets is coming to the Criterion Collection, and it's coming to the Criterion Collection in this 4K UHD Blu-ray combo or the option of the alternate Blu-ray single disc release, with some very interesting, very interesting supplements here as well. But what to say about this news? This is high voltage news of a high voltage film. This is incredibly important work in the context of Scorsese's output. You don't need me to say that, right? Because people who know the works of Scorsese know how important this film is and how amazing this film is and how shocking this film is and how almost it has it's working on many dimensions, many levels. It has a type of gritty crime drama element to it, but it's also a film about friendships, and also it's a film that breaks the fourth wall. It's a film that's about very intimate, personal aspects of of religion and betrayal. And also it's dealing with this in the context of the Scorsese 1970s New York filmmaking style, for lack of a better phrase, while also combining that with sensibilities of, say, for example, the French New Wave, which was 10, 15 years in the making by this point. And so perhaps even further, depending on one's perspective. But the point is that there's so much, as I say, high-octane volatility in this film that it never ceases to amaze. Even knowing that this film was made in the early 1970s, and here we are in 2023, going into 2024, this film still amazes, and it still delights and shocks and makes one laugh. I mean, it has every hallmark of a great Scorsese film. It has that sense of urgency. It has that sense of quick-wittedness. It's funny. It's also very volatile and shocking in that high, energetic, and very, very in-your-face, gritty sort of way, with these powerhouse performances from everyone across the board, including Harvey Keitel and Robert De Niro. So this is monumental news. This is huge news. This is incredible. So Mean Streets is coming to the Criterion Collection from Martin Scorsese. This is really interesting too because much like Peter Bogdanovich and other filmmakers getting attention from the Criterion Collection, say David Lynch, Wes Anderson, Martin Scorsese's works also get a lot of Criterion Collection attention and Criterion Collection love. So that's great. So we do have a number of Scorsese works already in the collection, but never Mean Streets, at least not until now, or at least not until November. This is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. I cannot wait to talk about this one. And the cover art design looks wonderful. Again, take a look. Again, my iPad is not doing this justice. It is our dear friend, Sister Hyde, the dear friend of this channel, Sister Hyde, doing the great artwork here. Oh, this is so exciting. I am on, what's the phrase? It's pins and needles? I'm not sure if that's the right word. It's just cloud nine or just through the roof stratosphere. Excited about this. So, Mean Streets is coming to the Criterion Collection. Scheduled for release at spine number 1198 for November 21st, 2023. Tell me you're coming back to me. And then last, but certainly not least, also scheduled for release November 21st, 2023. And this is scheduled for spine number 1199, and this is a film from 1995. From Claude Chabrol, and it's this work, which is La Cérémonie. La Cérémonie. And this is for a DVD one-disc release or a one-disc Blu-ray release. Again, scheduled for 1199. La Cérémonie by Chabrol. How does one begin to explain this work? It has a type of seemingly almost... and I mean this very, very positively. It has this way of, it has a type of accessible outlook to it that has a wonderfully deceptive way, that it has a type of twists and turns aspect. And there is a kind of sinister, almost vicious edge to this film that I think combines in a way that is breathtaking. Absolutely breathtaking. So, La Cérémonie, I haven't had the opportunity recently to revisit this film, but I remember when I first saw it, for instance, I wasn't quite sure what I was in for, and it took me quite off guard when I first saw it many, many years ago, and so I would maybe urge. I don't want to say too much here, but I would urge people who haven't seen this film to just maybe go in and gosh, I wish I could relive watching this film for the first time, let me put it that way. So it has that type of excitement to it. And one of the great works by Chabrol. So this is also, I think, a nice way to be acquainted with or be introduced to the world of Chabrol if you haven't already been introduced. What a great cinema journey that is, the cinema journey through the works of Chabrol. And this is a wonderful place to go. With fantastic, almost counterbalance performances by Sandrine Bonner and Isabelle Huppert in this work. So they form this incredible duo. And again, I don't want to say more than this for the benefit of those who have yet to watch this dynamite film, La Cérémonie by Chabrol. Wow. So very excited about this. Now this is going to be, according to the site, Blu-ray disc or a DVD disc. So you have your choice of the format. It's nice to see the DVD option still being made available. Again, it's not being made available for all the titles of Criterion. I understand this, but when it does appear, that is very, very good news indeed. So we have the Blu-ray disc, and it says here a new 4K digital restoration with 2.0 surround DTS HD Master Audio soundtrack. So it'll be interesting to see what that has to offer. But La Cérémonie, it's coming to the Criterion Collection physical media catalog in this way, November. This is incredible news, absolutely incredible news. So again, November 21st, Claude Chabrol's La Cérémonie. All right, my dear friends, so that's it in terms of the November releases. So that is incredible. I mean this very as a compliment, but I'm sitting here exhausted just thinking about the potential and the possibilities of this month. This is really incredible. I mean, not just the idea of kind of the reemergence of certain titles like Days of Heaven, and also the individual release of a film like The Last Picture Show, but with the extra, almost with the great benefit of the inclusion and attention given to the work Texasville, as well as being a type of opportunity to, again, celebrate or re-celebrate the great legacy that is the cinema of Bogdanovich. And then the opportunity to visit or revisit the great cinema world of Claude Chabrol with one of the prime examples of Chabrol's work, which is La Cérémonie, excuse me. And then we have the great Jackie Chan, again, being given the spotlight once again by Criterion, this time in the form of the emergence of a Superstore set, which is going to start the month of November. Very exciting. So that's another collector's set. It'll be interesting to see what the packaging looks like for that. But Jackie Chan collector set, Criterion physical media. Wow, what a combination indeed. And then last but certainly not least, Scorsese, Martin Scorsese's work, Mean Streets. And wow. That is that's huge. That's pretty huge. So my mind is like kind of like mush, because it's almost like it's on overload because of the excitement, and so I am bereft of any type of meaningful comments. I'm just I'm sorry about that, my dear friends, but I hope you can understand what I mean by that. I mean that 100% as a compliment, because I am so overjoyed by this. This is incredible news. I am very much excited by this. It's nice to see the DVD format being given some oxygen, as it were, in the form of La Cérémonie. But it is still conspicuous in terms of the lack of DVD availability with other titles. So let's keep that in mind as to how far this format will go in the context of Criterion's releases. It's also interesting to see the 4K UHD format still being applied in this sort of now regular way with these very high-profile releases now. So these have the potential, I think, to be big sellers. Days of Heaven, Mean Streets, Last Picture Show. So. And then the Jackie Chan set, Criterion might be, maybe when it comes to the release of, films from Asian cinema, martial arts cinema, for example, there might be other labels, like I mentioned, the great Arrow releases. For instance, most recently there was a wonderful Arrow release of Bruce Lee cinema, which I think one can say gives the Criterion Bruce Lee set a run for its money, in a manner of speaking, in all aspects. And I'm a big fan of Criterion, don't get me wrong, but Arrow really does a magnificent job with sets like this, as well as other labels outside of Criterion. So maybe when it comes to box sets like this, and maybe there might be other labels that, quote unquote, do it a little bit better, unquote. But that being said, it'll be great to see what Criterion does with the Jackie Chan set, and it's wonderful to see how Criterion is giving the spotlight once again to Jackie Chan cinema. So well deserved. The more releases of his films, the better off I think everyone is. The world is a better place with more Jackie Chan cinema releases on Blu-ray, if you know what I mean. So that includes, potentially, anyway, that includes this Criterion. What am I saying? That definitely will include this Criterion release in November. I'm thrilled to bits. So that's my 2 cents when it comes to these releases, or this planned slate of releases for November 2023. Also, that it's nice to see a set like that Jackie Chan set here, but there doesn't seem to be any huge box set here for November. But that's not to say that we are lacking in box sets. So far in the year, we've had a number of great, collector sets, multi-disc sets. Beyond the 4K UHD Blu-ray combo sets, of course, we have multi-disc or multi-film sets that I think are definitely worth mentioning. I mentioned, too, that I'm moving from Japan to Los Angeles here, the Los Angeles County, and so I haven't had the opportunity to talk about the very recent releases from Criterion, but there is also one of the highlights of the year so far is the Pasolini 101 set. So that is a kind of box set which I think is one of the standouts of the year, as well as other great box sets as well, and that we have spoken a little bit about over the course of this year so far. Maybe not as many box sets as in past years, but it's not like we're totally lacking in box sets or collector sets. So that's, I think, very good news. And I think the Jackie Chan set has the potential of keeping on that tradition in a very robust and healthy way for Criterion. And then, of course, these individual releases. I should point out, too, that the Last Picture Show individual releases in many ways, it kind of stand out in terms of individual releases, because it seemed to be giving us a little bit something beyond what we had seen in the box set. So it'll be great to see how it compares with the box set version of Last Picture Show several years back versus this new upcoming planned release. And I am speaking, of course, maybe on the forefront of my mind when I say this is the attention given to the work Texas film. So very in terms of individual releases, that is kind of this Last Picture Show release in November has the potential for being a really big deal. And then, of course, just being able to revisit these high-octane releases, each in their own way high-octane, Days of Heaven and La Cérémonie and Mean Streets. Oh, my goodness. November has this tendency, or has this way of being a real stellar release month in the years of Criterion. And I would say that this year is no exception to that. This is incredible. And I think, too, that maybe there might be a number of people who feel the same way. But what about you, my dear friends? What do you think about this? Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you excited? Are you disappointed? Somewhere in between, or maybe something beyond? What do you think, my dear friends? Please let me know in the comments section. I would very much love to hear what it is you have to say. All right, my dear friends, so let's end it there. So thank you very much for your time as always. I hope that this video found you well and in very, very good spirits wherever you are or have been in the world. And until the next video, my dear friends, please continue to stay strong, stay safe, and cheers.